Bravo 6, going dark.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to some Ready or Not. It is me, Zeus, bringing you guys a casual clear of the raid for 213. And I haven't given this map some love in a while, so I figured I'd play through it. But it got me thinking about the last video I made on a map I hadn't given love in a while. And it got me thinking about what I was talking about during that video, where this game could never be a insert here game, right? Like, couldn't be the next Rainbow Six Siege, couldn't be the next Battlefield or Fortnite or whatever the fuck, right? It could not be the next insert here game if it wanted to be. It's just too different of a premise. But a lot of YouTubers, when the game first came out, were calling it, you know, the what Rainbow Six Siege should have been, or like how a tiny development studio succeeded where Ubisoft failed, and insert here, insert there, right? Basically just being like, this game was supposed to be Rainbow Six Siege. And that got me thinking, how severely could you, or would you have to change this game in order to make it somewhat like Rainbow Six, or hell, even Counter-Strike to a degree? But, yeah, I was thinking about that. How badly would you have to change it? And keeping on the lighter side of changes, where you wouldn't, you know, rebuild the entire game from the ground up kind of thing, I was thinking maybe just a different game mode, kind of similar to how I think Overwatch works, where it's always just like a bomb that you have to escort or whatever. Think kind of like Safeguard from Call of Duty Black Ops 3, if you also haven't played Overwatch. Because that I have played. Black Ops 3 I have played, and I have played the Safeguard mode, and it's, yeah, you escort a robot to the other side of the map. Now I think that would work as a game mode, like as an conceptually at least. And it would keep in theme with the game. It wouldn't turn into some, you know, crazy shoot 'em up kind of game, right? And there could be justifications for it. One example being you're smuggling a drug kingpin's... What the fuck? You're smuggling a kingpin's drugs across the city to an airfield or something, where they're gonna get flown out of the country, or it's a... like the cartel boss's money, all the drug sales money, and it needs flown out of the country, something. And so basically you defend like a van or like an APC or something, and the suspects have to guide it from one side of Los Sueños to the other, and they can spawn in like buildings next door, something like that. And then the SWAT team can spawn at an APC that kind of follows behind, which would also give like checkpoints, I guess, to the SWAT teams. Like as they get, I don't know, further, they can't go back too far. Basically, like the SWAT team can't backtrack the van all the way back to where it started, kind of thing, because that wouldn't make sense, I don't think, to backtrack it all the way back to the beginning. That would just be kind of a weird thing to see happen. How's the guy downstairs? Is that another person downstairs? That sounded like it was downstairs. Whatever, unrelated. Anyway, back to the game modes here. I guess it could be a bomb disarming game mode. I mean, it wouldn't make sense if they were actual genuine suspects, but maybe like an OP4 kind of thing. And for anybody who has siblings who've been in the military, or have been in the military yourself, you know what an OP4 is. For anybody who doesn't know, it's opposing forces. It's basically practice with your buddies, basically. So the example that I have for OP4s is a guy I work with. He was in the Marines, and he did OP4s a lot. And one of the things he did for OP4s was teaching helicopter pilots how to land and drop off troops, and land and pick troops up. So they basically just, you know, pick a bunch of guys, and they would have them all kind of get onto the helicopter. The pilot would kind of fly in. They would, you know, whatever, permission to land here, whatever the shit. Or I'm landing in sector, you know, 34 giga or whatever, right? And then, you know, they'd get like, okay, confirmed, blah, blah, blah. They'd drop the guys off, guys would make a firing circle around the helicopter, basically like a protecting your landing zone kind of thing. They'd load back up and then fly off. So that's basically what an op force. It's basically where you kind of teach each other how to do this. So maybe these cops are teaching each other how to raid a building or something like that, and other officers are just stand-in suspects. They're not obviously actual suspects, but just stand-in. That guy got killed through a door, Elbozo. But that could be a thing they do to kind of justify disarming a bomb in the event of like a domestic terror situation. That would be a way that they could train for that or something. I feel like the bomb thing might not work. Maybe like a raid, kind of like this, where it's a team deathmatch-esque kind of thing. But I feel like that would be really unbalanced. Because, well, you know, all you have to do is hold an angle as a defender, and you're fine. I guess if they left the windows, like if they didn't have curtains and stuff like that, where they were always up, or like barricades, kind of similar to what Rainbow Six Siege does, I guess that would make it a little more balanced. Or maybe they have the cartel people have worse guns or something. But conceptually, that does not make any kind of sense. A drug cartel would be much better armed than your local SWAT team, because, well, they have more money and, well, they don't have laws. They don't have legalities, hoops to jump through. So, you know what I mean? They would be way better armed. And, with that even being said, it kind of wouldn't make sense anyway, because, well, this game has a one-shot headshot mechanic in it, so even if you have, you know, worse weaponry or whatever, right? You don't have access to as many attachments or stuff like that. Similar weapons, but just no attachments on them. It would be a lot of balancing, and I think that would throw the game way off. I think that would make it feel way more different. Because also, if we're going to say that it's an Op 4 as the justification, how would you know what kind of weaponry a cartel would have? I guess, through experience, right? If you've done a lot of raids or whatever, you would kind of know, but it would also just depend too much. And I feel like that would stray really far from what the game is supposed to be. Fucking hell. That scared the piss out of me. Anyway. Is that a shooter? Sorry. Anyway, it would stray really far from what the game is supposed to be. Like, SWAT team job normally is not to walk in and kill everybody. So there would have to be some kind of a mechanic where the more you yelled at the suspects who are players, the more likely their character is to just give up or something like that. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And that's just the beginning. Like, this is just game modes we're talking about. If we're talking about gunplay in general, I don't know how many people remember the big controversy with Rainbow Six Siege's recoil system, where I think the first 4 or 5 bullets were deterministic, so they always went in the same sort of recoil pattern. It wasn't always like exactly, you know, identical per bullet, but it was pretty close. And then after that, the recoil was RNG generated, and people hated that. There was like uproar about that. So then they've made it so the recoil is always pretty similar. It's within like 5 degrees of what it used to be, or whatever, right? Where the next bullet can't go too much further away. It kind of keeps them in a generalized pattern, and that would feel way different from Ready or Not. That is way different, because this game doesn't have any kind of system that I'm aware of, at least, that would act anywhere remotely close to similar. Something else you would have to change would be like the weapon choices in general, because there'd be a meta that would eventually develop, kind of how every game has a meta develop. Okay, I thought I was done there for a second. I was like, I'm not done. But there'd be a meta that would develop, so then they'd have to balance it, and some of these balancing changes wouldn't make any kind of sense. Sorry to keep... I don't mean to keep bashing on Rainbow Six Siege here, but if we're on the subject, speaking of Rainbow Six, the FN57 should be much better at armor penetration, because it's a small bullet moving very fast, but it's one of the weaker pistols. While the PMM, Capcan and Fuse and Glaz, I think, and Tachanka, I think, they all have the PMM, which is a super hard-hitting but like 9-shot pistol. It hits as hard as any of the revolvers, but it doesn't make any kind of sense. It shouldn't, right? So there's little things like that that just don't make any type of sense that they'd have to start implementing, and that would change the realism beyond repair. That would put it on like comical levels where I have the force field eating dinosaur kind of level of shit. So that would make it stray really far from realism, and I just think that would be kind of it as far as complete and total changes. I obviously haven't thought of everything, so if you guys have any ideas for what could be changed to make the game more PvP friendly, I guess, let me know down in the comments. And speaking of being down in the comments, while you're down there, you're down in that area, if you guys could just, if you leave a like on the video, that means a ton to me. It puts me kind of in YouTube's algorithm, and that means more people kind of show up. And I'm trying to grow to 1,000 subs by the end of the year. So yeah, if you guys like the video, it would mean a lot. And I mean, subscribe while you're down there too, if you enjoy this kind of content. I mean, if you've made it this far, I can only assume that you at least enjoyed the video a little bit. But if not, all good too. I get it. I'm still kind of new to this. I imagine me sitting here emptily rambling doesn't feel too great and kind of getting annoying, but we're already done with it. Yeah, if you guys enjoy this kind of content, please subscribe. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And yeah, without further ado, let me know what you guys think. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And you guys take it easy. Peace out.